30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on what will be a jam-packed Monday with a ton of stuff to get to from our new digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. Now, before we get all of this underway, this is 9/11, and it's hard to believe it's been 22 years ago. So at some point today, take a moment or two and remember all of those folks who lost their lives 22 years ago in a day none of us will ever forget. And it's an important day. Now, let's check in with Terry McCormick, get his daily Titans update, which is brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that is absolutely possible. Dial her up, 615-969-4350. Terry, let's start with the obvious, and that is the injury situation. How did they come out of the loss to New Orleans in that category?
Well, Christian Fulton was out of the game, then returned, had that hamstring issue. Kyle Pecco also suffered some sort of injury late in the game. It was not disclosed. But the one to be concerned about probably is Amani Hooker, who had a big game yesterday. He's in the concussion protocol, so who knows what his availability will be come Sunday when they face the Chargers.
Terry, is that basically it on the injury front?
That's all that we know for right now. We'll get a full injury report on Wednesday. But that's all that, we know coming out of the game.
Okay, obviously Watson Brown and Kelly are going to get into their 2 cents worth in the weekly Titans analysis. Give me some of yours. It seems like Derrick Henry at 15 carries was underused. Is that on purpose?
It sounds like it was, but I don't know why you would do that because – there was a situation in the game, George, where it was 9-9 and they were in the third quarter. And that would have been a perfect time to kind of put Derrick Henry in there and impose your will on the Saints. And instead, they went 3 straight passes with Henry not even on the field. And the third one of those was intercepted. So to me, they, kind of gotten away from their identity a little bit on Sunday, and I think it kind of bit them in the butt.
Terry, had they talked about that at all going in, that they would use Henry a little less?
Well, I think, the consensus, around most people that follow the team and all was that you'd see a little bit less of Derrick Henry, but he got less snaps on Sunday than Tajay Spears did. And the interesting thing is there were 19 called runs in the game by the Titans and 40 called passes. That is certainly not what a Titans offense is used to looking like. Now, granted, there's been a lot of room for improvement on the offense from what we saw last year. But yesterday looked like a lot of more of the same, not being able to connect consistently on the passing game, not being able to keep Ryan Tannehill protected, and then Tannehill himself just having a miserable day.
Let's talk Treylon Burks for a second. 2 catches, I think it was 18 yards. I want to give him sort of a free pass coming off the injury. Terry, they got to get more from him if they're really going to be anything close to the upper half of the receiving core in the league.
Oh, no doubt about it. He had 3 targets the whole game. In fact, it was like basically 3 in a row. He caught 2 of them and then dropped the third one, and he was never heard from again. And that was in the third quarter. So he had 0 targets in the first half. And by contrast, they force-fed the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, throwing at him 13 times, 7 catches for 65 yards.
Don't you think that's the beginning of more and more of this?
Probably so. And George, this may be something that you want to bring up with Watson and Kelly, but you know, I think the big thing right now that a lot of people are wondering about with this Titans team and the way Tannehill performed yesterday, is this a one game aberration that he struggled so badly in the opening game with new offense, new pieces, or is he starting to decline a little bit? We've seen quarterbacks in the past like Matt Ryan or Cam Newton, even Peyton Manning, just when it's gone, it's gone. And you hope for Ryan Tannehill's sake that that's not the case coming into this 2023 season, because to me, the Titans, if they're going to contend, they've got to have Ryan Tannehill performing at a respectable level. And yesterday just wasn't it.
Yeah, and believe me, that will be the first thing up when we get to Watson and Kelly. Anything else you want to leave us with?
Well, if you're looking for a bright spot, George, thought that Arden Key played really well yesterday in his first game as a Titan. Had a sack, had I think 1.5 sacks, had the play that really looked like a fumble to me. It looked almost identical to the Josh Dobbs play down in Jacksonville last year, but the Titans weren't able to get the benefit of the doubt on that call. But I think Arden Key is going to provide another element to this defense that should make it even better.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on this defense because based on what we saw yesterday, this defense has got to be in the top, I don't know, quarter of the league for this team to have any chance to win. Terry, thank you as always. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same place.
All right, sounds good.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that is absolutely possible. So dial her up, 615-969-4350. Let's head to Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
George, I'm great. How you doing?
Good. How was Kansas State?
I didn't go out there. I watched it. They were pretty good. I didn't think they were that much better, but you have to make plays, and when you don't make plays when they're presented to you, and then I think Troy had it 14-10 before half, and they got it back like with 50 something seconds left, and they took it down and scored, and that was kind of it ended up being 21-10. That kind of took all. It was like a tire getting deflated. It felt like, and then it's kind of the same thing in the second half. They're pretty good though. I mean, they got a good football team. They got a big quarterback. They got guys that can run. They had the running back last year. Who's he playing for? New England? I'm not sure.
Did he go to Dallas? I think
Dallas. That's it. He went to Dallas.
Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, he went to Dallas. So, and they got another little scat guy. He's not a running back, but he's kind of a receiver, kind of the same stature that kid had, and they get the ball to him. But it just wasn't a very good day for the Troy Trojans. That's for sure.
What kind of money did they get for going? Do you know?
I don't even know. I haven't heard that, George. I couldn't tell you. I heard somebody say that did Middle get 1.6 when they went to – I think when they went to Alabama, they got 1.6. I don't know what they got going to Missouri. But they were in the game in Missouri. They were in the game. So I've made a conclusion that I know that this is probably going to upset some people, but the SEC is they got to pick their game up. They're not very good right now.
Yeah, we're going to get into that during the 3 o'clock hour because obviously Alabama's loss to Texas has got everybody's attention, especially how good Texas looked. But that's more of an action-packed show where we try to jam a bunch of it in there. Let's start with the update. Billy, hope you had a good weekend. How was Winston-Salem?
It was good. I like Winston-Salem a lot. It's a beautiful campus. Their stadium is technically off campus, though. So it's kind of an interesting setup, but Vanderbilt didn't fare well. And I'm sure we'll get to that a little bit later in the week. Another team, Kelly, you mentioned MTSU playing up to Missouri. Austin Peay.
Yeah.
Gave Tennessee a big time fight, and so we'll see.
They did as good as you could humanly expect them to do. So kudos to the group in Clarksville. I know the reaction will be, well, that sounds like a, moral victory. Well, you know what? When it's one AAA, 4A, whatever the hell it is, that's a heck of a performance by them to hang tough.
Yeah, that's all you could ask for if you're a Govs fan. But this Saturday, Tennessee will head down to Gainesville. They open as a 4-point favorite. So I've seen it a little bit higher though. I've seen it up at 5 and maybe even 6 at some places. So we'll see how that ends up. Last win in Gainesville for Tennessee, 2003. So we'll be talking a lot about that tomorrow with Tony. But
looks like Cooper Mays is going to be ready.
I've heard that too. Nothing official, but Tennessee
that
obviously
would be huge.
Tennessee needs him big time, especially after the way they looked against Austin Peay.
Tennessee's the better team. It's time to go down there and kick their butt.
But on the other side, this is a must-win for Billy Napier. I mean, he's going to have his team ready, but does that mean they win though? That's the question.
McNeese, listen, that's nice. Who cares?
Congratulations.
Move on.
UTSA will go to Knoxville in 2 weeks, and that game has been announced as a 3:00 kick on the SEC network. Also, Vanderbilt, their kickoff has been announced against Kentucky, 11 a.m. Central Time here in a couple of weeks. So maybe that benefits Vanderbilt, but they got to play a lot better if they want to have a chance against Kentucky and some of those other SEC teams. They have opened as a 2-point favorite against UNLV.
Yeah, UNLV isn't exactly the 27 Yankees.
No, neither is Vanderbilt right now.
No, they're not.
So I've seen it at 3.5 and 4. We'll see if that rises at all. But some college football news over the weekend. Mel Tucker has been in the news the last couple of days. He's been suspended without pay while the university investigates claims that he sexually harassed a prominent sexual assault awareness speaker who came and spoke to the team about preventing these type of issues. So that's still ongoing. We'll see. I would guess he gets fired with cause. Now, it depends on whether or not Michigan State will have to pay the entire, $80 million buyout. I doubt they will. They'll probably have to pay him something, but looks like they'll get away from paying him $80 million.
Well, first of all, let's make clear that until we know, we don't know. And if he does get fired, you can bet your bottom dollar it'll be for cause.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So longtime assistant Harlan Barnett will serve as interim, while Mark D'Antonio will come back and serve as the associate head coach. So Michigan State on some hard times right now. They had a 5-7 season last year, and now their coach is on the heels of losing his job. So we'll see what happens there. Also, earlier today, Oklahoma offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby apologized after his father-in-law, Art Briles, was seen on the field with Lebby after Oklahoma's win over SMU on Saturday night. And as you know, if you don't know, Baylor fired Art Briles back in 2016 after sexual assault allegations. The pictures of Briles in Oklahoma gear drew a lot of backlash from Sooner fans on social media, and Lebby had to come out and apologize and say, he is my father-in-law. He's the grandfather of my son. So I don't know why. I mean, for Oklahoma, did you not think this was going to potentially happen when you hired his son-in-law? I mean, I guess there were some fans up in arms in Oklahoma.
This one's really interesting because Briles has been painted as a total pariah.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, who knows? Because I certainly wasn't there when all of it went down. I mean, that's been 8 years ago, and the reaction was really strong.
Yeah, he's been kind of shunned by the college football community, it feels like. So
well, what is he? What is the kid supposed to do though? That's his father-in-law. I mean, he's part. He was part of football. I mean, he's going to give him some gear. I can understand the backlash, but good gracious, I mean, he's part of his family. I mean, he likes football.
Kelly, this type of reaction probably wouldn't happen, 15, 20 years ago. But today's world, this is
everybody's offended.
Exactly. Retired NFL. Let's go to the NFL.
Kelly and his sensitivity training.
You remember
Sorry.
Pac-Man Jones?
Yes, I
For the
remember
Titans.
him well.
He's back in the news.
Our little angel.
Nobody picked him up. That's not why he's back in the news. He was arrested for making terroristic threats and alcohol intoxication at an airport near Cincinnati early this morning. So
let me say this. When you get to the airport, that stuff doesn't go over well.
that doesn't really fly.
No, it really doesn't.
TSA's not having that.
He's up to 39 years old now, too. Yeah. I didn't realize he was that old. So he couldn't play now, obviously. Also in the NFL tonight, Jets and Bills, fun matchup, but DeMar Hamlin's not going to be able to go.
No, but to me, and maybe, I hate saying this, maybe that's the right move. What's the phrase? To err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 8 months since he virtually died on a football field.
And you could have predicted this, right?
I guess so. I mean, are they just holding him out? Is he one of the inactives, or is he injured? Has he got something going on?
Well, I think it's precautionary.
Okay. That's what it's got to be, because he played well in preseason and he practiced all training camp. So, I mean, which
then does beg the question, if he was okay to play
in preseason.
Yeah, I don't know. But obviously that will get covered tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not going to take top billing. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers will take that. But this is a big story. The fact that he's even close to a football field. By the way, plaster bet of the day will be about that game.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Go Bills.
You don't know where I'm going. Oh, unfortunately, yes, you do.
Kelly, you said go Bills.
Thanks for giving it away, Kelly.
I didn't know. I'm just saying because I played for the Go Bills.
Yeah, that's not why you said it.
Well, Kelly, you also played for the Browns. How about them Brownies?
How about them, dude?
They beat
it up Joe Burrow's rear end, dude. Like, how about it?
You think anybody, while he was struggling, and believe me, his struggles aren't going to last.
No.
You don't think that new contract he signed didn't get discussed by a couple of D linemen?
Oh, absolutely.
But the bad news is, Kelly, they lost their starting right tackle. The Browns did. Jack Conklin's done for
former Titan. Hated to hear it.
Yeah.
He is done for the year, which is
what did he do?
Suffered
ACL,
a season left knee injury.
Yeah.
So
it sounded like it blew the whole thing out.
This is amazing, though, the kind of progression that Joe Burrow has been on. He's been to the AFC Championship twice. He's been to the Super Bowl once, and he's got a losing record against the Cleveland Browns. He's now 1-5, which is crazy.
And today he will be a dud.
And he's a dud.
Yeah, boy, I know.
Way to go, George. Way to go. Way to Paulo.
Really hurts him.
Way to Paulo. Yeah, he's not worried about that. He's going to the bank later on today to set up a new account.
He is, and I'm not one of his dependents.
And you're not getting any royalties, Podge.
No, I'm not.
Real quick, want to say congratulations to Novak Djokovic. I love watching him. I was able to watch a little bit of that. He's a legend, and he's one of the more dominant players, so he wins the U.S. Open. So congrats to him.
Okay.
And that'll do it.
This Friday, our show will originate from Billy's alma mater. Father Ryan.
Boom.
Okay, so you all are trying for the first time in 26 years to beat NBA, correct?
Yep. No player on either team this Friday night was alive the last time Father Ryan beat NBA.
Nor were you.
Nor was I. But my grandfather was, and my uncle was. So there's some history to this, and they won it.
Was your grandfather the coach?
He was one of the assistants. Who was it, George? You know that. 1997.
I didn't go to school there.
I can't remember. This is going to kill me.
It's your school.
So it's safe to say, Billy, that after the show, you were staying in Father Ryan country.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Yes.
It's going to be a family affair. Are you going to have all 40 of them there?
Oh, yeah.
He'll be there at 9 a.m. So
it's high school football, Billy. I mean, relax, Francis.
Okay, so after the break, Watson Brown will join us. He and Kelly will get into their Titans analysis following the loss in New Orleans. and we'll get knee-deep into Ryan Tannehill and what caused the problem. Stay tuned. Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. We're back, and it's time for what we call Watson Brown's Titans analysis with a little assist from Kelly Holcomb. Let's bring Watson Brown up. Watson, how are you?
Guys, I'm doing good.
So,
y'all see enough football over the weekend?
Ooh, watched a ton.
Yeah. Exciting.
Don't even want to admit how much.
Oh, gracious.
So, Watson, let's get right to it. When the quarterback doesn't play well, obviously that gets a lot of attention. Ryan Tannehill had less than a 29 rating as a quarterback yesterday, 3 picks against New Orleans. In your opinion, was this simply rust from not playing in the preseason?
Gosh, there's so many things to talk about in this game that we've got to discuss, and I think part of the other things lead back to Ryan. I've never felt like Ryan was a great drop back thrower. He's a play action pass, one-on-one, throw it to that guy, drop back quick and throw little quick option routes. He's good at that. He's good at hitting a first receiver, and when he's got to go to pass one and go to 2 and 3, I've never felt like that's Ryan's bag. And yesterday, to me, since Ryan's been there, he's had bodies all around him, and that's another thing we're going to get into here if we have time with the offensive line. But George, Kelly, he lets the ball go late. All three of his interceptions yesterday were late throws, and I understand. I've let quarterbacks throw to a great receiver double teamed. I've done that before. I get that a little bit, but you can't throw it late to double teams. I mean, you can't hold the ball and then throw it late. I vividly remember the one where the post route deep was picked off and tipped backwards, and they're running a route we've all run for ages. It's a scissors route. You've got one on a post and one on a corner. I thought the post and the corner meshed way too late. It's making you hold the ball that much longer because the quarterback's got to see the mesh unfold, the crossing routes unfold as they kind of near pick one another. And it was too late, so he lets it go late. He gets that one picked off. He throws another one into a double team on a corner route, thrown way too late. That one was picked off, and then the fade route was late. The one-on-one fade route that he threw to Hopkins was late, and behind it, it looked like he was confused. Is this supposed to be a back shoulder or a fade route? He thought it was back shoulder, or that's what it looked. But yet, that's not the way you throw a back shoulder. You don't float the back shoulder. The back shoulder is a firm ball. George, the other thing that he struggles with, I think, is he struggles with that ball that's, of course, some quarterbacks have and some don't, that you can throw right over the helmet of a linebacker or right over the helmet of a corner or whatever. And I used to teach quarterbacks that off the goalpost. I'd put 110 yards on one side of the goalpost and 110 on the other. And I'd say, okay, now hit that guy in the helmet on the other side. Well, you got to come high with the release. Your point's got to be down, and he's not good at that. He throws a very line drivey kind of ball. That's why I think he's good on first receivers. I just don't think he's a drop back guy. That's a dissertation to say go back to one thing. You got to be careful making him a 25, 30 drop back passes in one game. You got to throw some. I get it, but you can't throw that many, I don't think.
Kelly, chime in here.
I mean, everything that Watson was talking about was kind of the things that I was thinking when I was watching the game yesterday. You've got to be on time and you got to let the ball go. You can't in the National Football League, George, and I've said this before, you have to throw receivers open. You can't wait to have the Tim Tebow effect where you want to see him open and then throw it, because when you do that, it's too late. And there were times yesterday where, I mean, he could have had 6 interceptions, Coach. I mean, if you look at it, he had a couple. They dropped a couple because instead of going back there and hitching up and throwing the ball, he's going and he's hitching. And when you do that in the National Football League, you're going to get picked off, George. That's just the way it is. So I don't. He just didn't play good yesterday, and that begs the thing of. And I want to ask Watson, and you already alluded to it, George. Like, why do we not play these guys in the preseason? I know they're getting paid all this money. I totally understand that. And I know that all these coaches don't want to get these guys hurt. I totally understand that. But, it goes back to you can't coach scared. And I think that if he would have got in, I know he had joint practices down here and he went to Minnesota and had joint practices up there, but it's still different than when you're in an actual game where guys are going to hit you. When you're in joint practices, you get some good work because you get some time, but in the back of your mind that you're not going to get hit. It's just a totally different vibe. he's playing a really good defensive team. I mean, Tom Brady, when he was in that division, New Orleans always messed him up because the Cam Jordans of the world, they can get pressure. They do a really good job of scheming, and they've got a really good defense. And they got some ballers on that defense. But just yesterday, he didn't look in sync, and it just begs the question, like, would it have helped him to play some in the preseason? I think it would have.
Well, George, that goes to one of the other things I was going to bring up. The Titans have lost 3 straight home first game openers, 3 in a row. And I think that leads back to got to look at themselves in the mirror. What are we doing wrong here? They lost to the Giants last year in a close game. They lost yesterday, and then they got clobbered by the Cardinals, if we all remember that one. I mean, embarrassingly clobbered by the Cardinals in an opening game. 2 of the 3 were at home, and I just think they got to look at that. I'm a believer also, they're getting paid, but they're getting paid to win. And you got to make sure they're ready to win. And I just don't think you can go out there and not have played some. I think that hurts college. I think a lot of college first games are not pretty because they don't scrimmage anybody. They have to play against themselves, and believe me, that is a total different world than lining up against an off-color shirt. And so I think that's a little bit of it. I don't think it's all Ryan, even though, gosh, he played very poorly. But I think there's a lot of things that I think they got to understand about Ryan and keep him in the situations that he can handle better than 25 drop back passes or whatever it might have been yesterday.
Watson, let's go back on this. And I realize this is a little cynical, but shouldn't you be able to expect a 35-year-old quarterback who has played double-digit years in the league to be past some of what you're talking about?
Yes, absolutely. But yesterday he wasn't. And when he hasn't played well, George, when we think back, Kelly, when he hasn't played well through his 5 years here, that's what it looked like when he doesn't play well right there. It's mirrored images. Every time he doesn't play well, these are the things he does poorly. And I think there's a point where you keep working to get a guy better, but I've never coached in the NFL. I always coached young kids that were high school kids and then try to grow up in college. We always thought we could get them better. I think there's a point in the NFL. You better understand what you got and then do what he can do best or play a different one. But you got to do one or two things. Play a different one or do what that quarterback does best, because the worst thing you can do offensively is try to make a quarterback do things that he's not good at. That is a disaster when you do that. You got to start with your quarterback. What is he best at? And don't put that guy in that position. He's the leader of your football team, and he better be. I don't care if he's a freshman or a senior or he's a 35-year-old pro. Quarterback has to be the leader of that football team. And if you're putting your leader in bad situations that he doesn't handle well, I think that's going to hurt the football team.
Kelly, let me ask this, and again, this is a little cynical, but what Watson is painting, and he's talked about it before, is Tannehill is good at play fake, boom. But that when he has to go to a second or a third receiver, it gets to be a problem. Well, isn't that what a National Football League quarterback has to do?
Yeah, it truly is, George. I just don't know. And Watson hit it right on. He hit the nail on the head when he talked about his touch. Sometimes he always throws a ball. It is hard, and I've watched him, and I've never really thought about this till Coach just brought it up. But like his touch sometimes it's all flat. It's all flat, and you've got to have some touch where you can get it over guys. You can get it over a linebacker, or you can get it over offensive lineman or a defensive lineman if you're throwing a screen pass, and sometimes he struggles with that. So he just did not play good yesterday, George. It wasn't good. I know that everybody, I'm sure, in the Nashville area and the Titans fans are on him. I've always been an advocate. I really like Ryan Tannehill, but yesterday it wasn't a good thing. And when you hold a team to 16 points in the National Football League, you should win some games, and I mean, you kicking 5 field goals and you can't get it in the end zone. That's just it wasn't a good display yesterday in New Orleans. It sure wasn't.
So, Watson, how much of this is an offensive line that now for the last year and a half has gotten him killed? Not that there's a toughness issue, because nobody will question Ryan Tannehill's toughness, but is he starting to get a little gun shy from this offensive line?
I didn't see that. I didn't see him flinch and all that stuff. He does sometimes freeze a little bit and don't let the ball go on time. And it looks like he'll freeze on receiver 1 and just not be quick down to 2 or 3. And that's what I see. But I don't see a flinch deal. I don't. I don't know that I ever have. I think he's tougher than nails. I've seen that kid get up and go again. I remember, was it last year or the year that we won the division? We're in Houston, and he gets the fool knocked out of him late in the game, gets up, next play scrambles around, and on the 4th down or whatever it was, throws a beautiful ball, and they go on in and score, and they don't win the division if he don't do that. He does a lot of good things. I just believe at 35 years old, you got to be careful at what he does. And the line is still an issue. That's a question mark going in. I didn't leave with an answer yesterday. It wasn't – they didn't play as bad as Ryan, but I can't give it past the C from what I saw. Pass protection in the first half was really rough. A little better in the second half, but I've learned something, and Kelly will probably 100% this. I've learned something from watching the NFL since I've been retired. Man, in the first half, those pass rushers are something. And I'm not sure you need to think a little different in first halves over second halves. I watched games all day yesterday, and the pass rush with all these great defenses isn't hardly as good in the second half when these kids start getting tired as they are in the first half, because they got to rush passer a bunch in the NFL. And so I thought they did pass protect a little better in the second half over the first half. But that leads me, George, if you want me to go to another piece, are you through with
No,
Ryan
go ahead. Go ahead.
That leads me to, I didn't feel a philosophy yesterday. I kind of felt 2 philosophies. Well, we'll run Derek here. Oh, let's go back and drop back and do this. And one or the other has to be prevalent, in my opinion. And then you mix the other one with it. I mean, Spears played more plays yesterday than Derrick Henry did. And I just think they left Derrick. He had 10 carries in a good first half. He only touched it 5 times, 7 with 2 screens. But he only touched it 5 times running the ball in the whole second half. And this wasn't a blowout game where they got to catch up. This was a 1-score game the whole way. And I just think if you got Derrick Henry, what are you going to do with Derrick Henry? And I just felt like they should have stuck with him longer than they did in the second half. And I thought they kind of lost their patience a little bit, which leads me to say that's not what Ryan does best. So I put a little bit on the philosophy of the game, and I'll just bet you they get back, and we're going to see Derrick more than we saw him yesterday. And, Kelly, you get in these second and 15s, which first and 15s, they had quite a few. And they'd run Spears in immediately. At first and 15, that big guy still out there makes a difference to that defense. And I just don't know that I would take him out on all of those. Hand him the ball and let him gain 6 yards. What they've done a lot in the past, they'll get no backs and throw an option route and make it 2nd and 9. Well, Derrick can also run for 6 yards and make it 2nd and 9. So I just think if you've got Derrick Henry, you got to use him more than they did yesterday. I don't think they can win their division without Derrick Henry having a special year.
Kelly?
I just remember Tom Moore talking about, because we had, when I was there, we had Edgerrin James now in the Hall of Fame, but Edgerrin James would go the first 3 quarters and he would have 35 yards rushing. And then by the 4th quarter, I can remember Tom saying, that's why you got to keep running it, son, because we're going to get our yardage. And he would have 115 yards at the end of the 4th quarter. So when coach talks about being patient, that's what you got to be, George. You got to be patient. You got to believe in the process. You got to just understand that, hey, I got one of the better backs in the league. You got to wear teams down, and then that's when you run the football. And they were in the game yesterday. It's unbelievable. And only carrying the ball 5 times in the second half is kind of brutal. I'm sure he's kind of shaking his head. I will say this. I want to piggyback on what Coach said, but you asked this question, George, about Ryan Tannehill getting nerves in the pocket. Well, like when you get to the National Football League, you never think about stuff like that, George, because I was really stupid. But most quarterbacks have to be stupid to stay in there with 300-pounders when they're not blocked and stare down the barrel of a gun and know that he's not blocked and I still got to throw the football. And you like if you think about that, then you're in the wrong position. You're in the wrong profession because it doesn't matter if those guys are blocking or not. You're still going to stand in there and throw the ball. And I can remember Joe Montana a long time ago. He was playing Jerome Brown when they were with the Philadelphia Eagles and all those guys. And they were killing Joe Montana. And one of his linemen couldn't block Jerome Brown. And he kept apologizing. Joe was like, "It's okay, man. It's okay." And at the end of the game, Joe came back and he brought him back and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. But you got to you can't worry about that stuff, George. You just got to go out and play. And then, hopefully we get this offensive line figured out, this offensive line thing fixed, and then we can go on about our business.
Okay, let me close it like this. Watson, give me about 45 seconds. Is the offensive line fixable?
Well, I didn't think they played bad, George. I got to see them more. And I think they're better run blockers than they are pass protectors. So I'd like to see us help those guys a little more by giving it to the big guy more also, and not put them in pure let those dadgum Saints dudes back that right leg up, and here they come, man. I'm telling you. I just think we got to help them a little bit more, and I think the jury's still out on them.
Kelly, is it fixable?
Yeah, it's fixable, George. You got to play together, and you got to get some continuity in there. They got a rookie starting at right guard, so is it right guard or left guard? It's left guard. Excuse me, with the Skoronski kid. So that was his first true game yesterday. Now, offensive line's a little different, but they've got to develop some continuity about them. They've got to develop some teamwork about them, and they'll get better, hopefully. I'm sure Ryan Tannehill's hoping they get better, and I'm sure Derrick Henry's hoping they do too, so they can, it all starts up front. We all know that.
That home New Orleans crowd had them juiced up too. They
had the umbrellas out.
They were coming out.
They're a loud crowd for sure.
Well, and that's another just quick second guess. It's not good, but second guessing is kind of what we do on Mondays. So when you're playing in those real loud places, and I've been in a million of them as a coach, I just don't think you go out with a lot of shifting and motioning and have late snap counts early in the game and let everybody settle down a little bit. I thought a lot of our jumping early in that game was late snap counts, and Kelly will know what I mean by that.
That does have something to do with it, George. You know that. It does have something to do with it because you got to – that's the first game of the season. You got some new guys that hadn't played together, and all of that factors into it.
Guys, appreciate it. Watson, we'll talk again here soon. Tell your brother once again he's right.
Oh, Lord, he's right, and he's lucky.
Oh, they had a tight one.
Got that right.
Oh, good gracious. Lord have mercy.
I don't think they'll be scheduling App State anymore.
No,
I think they're done with those boys, yes.
Watson, thank you.
See you guys.
Okay, after the break, you will hear from Titans head coach Mike Vrabel. Stick around. We've got plenty more coming in the 3 o'clock hour. We've got Kelly's top 4. Who would get in the playoff if the season stopped today? We've got studs and duds. We have discussion of Alabama's performance against Texas. Ouch. Stay tuned. Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Really a tough loss in New Orleans. You waste a great defensive effort. It does look like this defense is going to be really good. It's the other side of the football that we're left going, what's going to happen? Here's Titans coach Mike Vrabel.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. And we got to play a lot better. We have to come up with some more plays on third down defensively. We have to match another defense that's excellent. We didn't win the kicking game and certainly didn't do very good in the red zone offensively. So, and then when we needed to get a stop, I was counting on our defense. They played well all day. Had the hiccup down there in the red zone where, third down, they score a touchdown. So I don't know. We'll have to play better, and we will. We'll coach better, but I don't think we gave one away. We just too many mistakes.
As far as your quarterback play, what is your assessment?
Well, the coaching and the quarterback play and the line play and the defensive play, everybody. It's just, it's never going to be about one guy. Told them at halftime, like, we got to block better, we got to get into routes better, we got to get open quicker, and we have to throw the ball better, and the runners have to run better. So that's what it's always going to be. Everybody's tied in, and that's where we're at. Week 1, found some adversity. It's a great challenge on the road. When we handled the environment, we were able to hit some plays. Unfortunately, got behind the sticks. Too many long yardage situations, too many third and longs, which led to too many third and longs, which led to not enough conversions.
Pager says how the defense did. You got to make some plays throughout, gave up a couple late that ended.
Not good enough. Not good enough. Gave up a touchdown, just like I said. on third down. And if we want to be a great defense, you have to be a great defense all the time. I tried to put the game in their hands. I thought we'd get a stop. They had 49 rushing yards when we, made the decision to kick. Thought we'd get a stop. Thought we'd come down there and find a way to get it inside the 40 and kick a field goal to win the game. That's what I believed.
Sorry for the answer already.
No.
Ryan, decision-making overall.
Well, the decision-making, we just have to be more decisive in all three phases. Figure out, what it is that allows our players to play decisive and play better, especially in an environment like this. Ryan will be better. We'll coach better, and we'll get open quicker, and we'll block a little longer than we did today going forward, because that's what we have to do.
You had that flea flicker set up perfectly, and it looked like it could have been a touchdown. How big a momentum swing is it when that doesn't hit?
Well, we hit some plays, and we don't hit some plays, and we didn't hit it. That I don't know. Our job is to, as a team, as a coaching staff, as players, is to go try to make a play and get back to center, positive play, negative play, so that those things don't add up. So I don't know if that was a momentum switch, but certainly, a play that we have to hit and would have liked to hit.
I felt like the officials blowing the fumble recovery dead, though, was a bit of a momentum changer, was it not?
I mean, I don't, whatever it is, they're going to let it play out sometime, Next week, that's going to be a fumble, and then the next week it's going to be an incomplete pass, and the next week it's going to be a fumble. So if you're asking me that we should let replay sort it out, I would tell you that we should let replay sort it out. You can go back and look, show the team a lot of things that we covered came up today. Playing to the recovery of the ball. It was, proud of the way that Kevin didn't flinch and went and got the ball, and the way that we tried to affect the quarterback, and it just didn't go our way. They called it incomplete, and once it goes to replay, they need clear and obvious evidence that it wasn't a pass.
What constitutes a throw there in your estimation if the quarterback is pushing the ball with his hand?
I could sit here and debate it. What needs to happen is that we all understand that the call on the field is critical. And then after that, you need clear and obvious evidence to overrule the call on the field. So, good play there by the defense, but just didn't get there quick enough. And, that wasn't the reason that we lost today.
How banged up was Christian, Mike? And
I'm sorry?
Christian Fulton, how banged up was he, and why the decision to put him back in?
Because he and the trainer said that he could go back in. We get 48 guys on game day. 2 of them are quarterbacks, and 3 of them are specialists, and so when the professional athletes tell us that they can go back in, whether it's Jeff or anybody else, Christian, on and on, they get checked out, and if they can come back and play, and then we put them back in.
With Derek in the second half, Derek Henry, that is, was there any particular reason why you guys got away from him running the ball?
Well, tried to run a few. They weren't overly successful. Get into some longer yardage situations. Had some called that gave us a look that we needed to check out of. Derek's going to help us, and we got to find ways to keep running the football. Be a little better when we throw it, and find a way to get him a screen today like we did.
Kelly, in a league where offense has started to take over and you've got teams really getting big chunks of yardage at times, when your defense gives up 16, they've done their job. This is not a team loss. This is an offensive loss.
I agree with you. When you hold a team to 16 points, you're going to win a lot of football games if you've got any sort of offense. And I know you're going to have some games like that. I can remember being part of games like that where all you get is field goals. You could not punch it in. You have a mistake. It's amazing how you can start 1st and 10, then you can get a holding penalty, and now it's 1st and 20. That totally screws up your whole drive. You can be driving, and I saw that yesterday quite a bit in some games. But, defensively, they played well. I was really I was excited to see the Arden Keys, the Jeffrey Simmons, the Autry. Those guys can rush the passer. They've got dudes that can get pressure on the quarterback. Those front four, and I mean, you don't even when you can do that, and you don't have to bring guys, and you can put the linebackers in coverage, and you don't have to bring guys. Man, that's an added plus. And I think that the Titans have that. But offensively, they just didn't do anything. They didn't move the stick. They didn't play well. Ryan Tannehill, obviously, we understand that. I mean, he's going to get the blame when they lose, and he's going to get a lot of the credit when they win. But he just didn't play. He knows that yesterday. He didn't play well, and that just keeps me going back to he got hurt last year, and he missed the end of the season. That's when they went on that long losing streak. And then he didn't really play in the preseason. He got 3 snaps where he handed off all 3 times. So I still think guys have to get into those games and get some of that real live experience before you go play the first game. That's just – I don't know. I understand why coaches do it, but I just think that that's a huge thing that these guys have got to get over because it has an effect on guys. And I think yesterday was a perfect example of a 35-year-old guy, Ryan Tannehill, who needed some experience in the preseason because he missed a lot of last year. So just didn't play good. And, Vrabel, I'm sure he gets tired of answering those questions. They'll play better next week, but they got a really good team they're going to play against who came up short yesterday, who's one of the top teams in the AFC. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back.
Justin Herbert and the Chargers at noon Sunday at Nissan Stadium. When we come back, we'll have Stat of the Day and then college football. So please stick around.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? How?
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, and who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over. The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Top of the hour on a Reaction Monday. It's now time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards. You can find them out in Shelbyville, Tennessee. They're open Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call also at 931-492-4304. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got for today. Of course, the Browns in their home opener defeated the Bengals 24-3. When's the last time the Browns won their home opener, and who was the quarterback?
I think it was Kelly Holcomb who was the quarterback, or you wouldn't be asking the question. Now, in all seriousness, Kelly, did you ever start a home opener?
I did, yes, I did, and that was the Dwayne Rudd where he threw his helmet at the end of the game against Kansas City. We had those guys beat, and they got an extra play and was allowed to go down there and kick a field goal. So we lost that game, but the next year we came back, and I was actually playing in that one as well, and we beat Cincinnati. So it's going to be interesting to see because I may be I don't know, that may be the one that he's talking about.
Let's just see. I'm going with Kelly Holcomb.
It is Kelly Holcomb in 2004.
Yes, sir.
In
Cincinnati. Was it Cincinnati?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I checked that this morning. It was Cincinnati.
Was that version in that picture as cynical as the one I now work with?
Oh, even more so. Yeah, he was bad. He was bad. His mouth was awful.
Well, Kelly, I'm checking here actually, and I'm seeing that y'all played the Ravens on September 12th of 2004 and beat them.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that there, Billy. I think it was Cincinnati, but you maybe I don't know. Who knows, man? Who knows? It was a long time ago. Let's just say it was almost 20 years ago. I can't remember that.
Now, are we ready to get into college football?
We are.
Man, what a weekend. So these are Kelly's top 4 if the season stopped today, which begs the question, where is the burnt orange?
That's a good question, man. I don't know. And I'm thinking, now looking at it, I'm a really big fan of Florida State. Florida State's really good. They've got an all-around really good football team. They can rush the passer. They've got a quarterback that is obviously a dual threat guy who doesn't make many mistakes. He made a couple of mistakes in the LSU game, but they could be number 2. I don't know enough about, I'm just going off about Michigan last year. They hadn't played anybody. They've got cannon fodder for the first 4 games. Ohio State, they didn't look great against Indiana, but they're trying to bring in a new quarterback after C.J. Stroud's gone. You could probably put Texas in there at 4. Maybe USC is in there as well. I don't know. I don't know if their defense is going to be able to hold up. They'll be able to score points, but those are. I was really impressed with. Let's go to Texas. I was really impressed with Texas the other day. They beat Alabama in Austin, and if it wasn't for the heroics of Bryce Young last year, they would have won 2 games against Alabama. This year they went into Tuscaloosa and they really dominated. They got pressure on Jalen Milroe. He didn't play good.
Just hold on. Hold on.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
He's going ahead of schedule.
He's already getting to one of the studs.
I love it. So
Kelly, well, let me give me a sec here. Kelly, is how far ahead is Georgia of these other 3 teams? Because
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
we probably can't answer that yet.
That's the beauty is we have no idea.
We have no idea.
In your mind, how much separation do you think there is?
Man, I don't know if there's any separation with Florida State, man. They're really good. I think the big question mark is how's the Beck kid going to play the whole year? They're probably the most talented team. I think Florida State's really got an top to bottom roster that's really talented. So it's just hard to say because you don't really know anything about the quarterback. I mean, he's played 2 games. We'll just have to see when there's a tougher test against those guys. But they're the champion. Until you beat the champion, I mean, they're the champion.
Billy, what we have right now are 2 national signature wins. Florida State, neutral site, bombs LSU in the 4th quarter. Yep. And then Texas goes to Tuscaloosa, where 98% of the world wants no part of, and really handed it to Alabama. So,
right. So I guess what I'm saying is, do you, if you're going through these first couple of weeks, would you even think about putting Florida State at number 1 just, because of that big win? Because they might have the most impressive win.
Yeah, they do, but I don't think you can. I mean, the people that do those polls, they might, but I just don't think you can put them ahead of Georgia at this time. I think, looking at that, I think Florida State's probably second. And I don't know much about Ohio State. I know that
They don't either.
I know that. Yeah, and I know that Michigan has the J.J. McCarthy kid. He's kind of locked in there as a quarterback. He played really well last year, and he's playing good against again this year. But they hadn't played anybody yet, so I think the unknown is Ohio State in that. And you're absolutely right. I think Texas could be in that top 4.
Okay, let's get to studs and duds of the weekend. Nice graphic there. And I'm guessing we start with the studs.
Hook 'em.
Okay, nobody is doing the upside down hook 'em horns. Let me on the front end say, I didn't think they'd go to Tuscaloosa and win. I haven't been a big fan of Quinn Ewers. I thought he was a long-haired pretty boy who was slow. And you know what?
Did that change, George?
Ooh, did it change? He was terrific. They were terrific. Hats off. And I'll tell you what, Sarkisian kept Nick Saban off balance, Kelly, with some great play calling.
He really did, and he understands with coaching there how Nick Saban runs his defense. You can have a different defensive coordinator, but all the things that Nick Saban has learned over time, he's going to implement with that new coordinator. And some of the routes, he knew exactly what he was doing, and all he needed was some time. And I think he felt like going into the game that his offensive line could block the defensive line of Alabama, and it turned out that way. And Quinn Ewers played really well. He played good, and all the people that's talked about Arch Manning, I know they said it on the broadcast, but he had a lot of stuff that he had to overcome as well with that. And he just said, "Hey, I had to quit worrying about it and go out and play football." And he did a good job of that the other night.
It'll start all that Arch Manning to Ole Miss stuff before.
Oh yeah,
Quinn Ewers looked like the real deal.
Yeah.
Stud number 2 at 11 in the morning, which I guess is 10 o'clock Denver Mountain, whatever. Colorado dismantled Nebraska. Big national TV audience. Nebraska's got a quarterback issue because that Sims kid
He's awful.
is hurting them. And Matt Rule, who I think is a really good football coach, is going to have to go back to the drawing board. I'll tell you one thing. What they're getting done at Colorado, when you think of all the transfers and all this having to gel quick with a group that's never played together, Kelly, some of that's got to be Dion.
Oh, all of it's Dion. He's a master motivator. He gets those guys to play. He gets those guys to give everything they've got. And I'm sure when he brought them in, he's like, I'm sticking my neck out for you. Now you need to produce for me. And he's got those guys playing good. Plus, it doesn't hurt the fact that he's got one of the best quarterbacks as his son in college football. I mean, if you watch him play, he just doesn't make mistakes at that age. It's kind of unbelievable. Now, it's just like my son. He's been around the game his whole life, and he's watched his dad. And I'm sure his dad is give him tidbits over his short life, but he never puts the ball in bad situations. He never makes a bad decision. Now he's going to, because that's just playing the game. But my goodness, that guy can make plays, and when he has to make those plays, he makes them. And the Hunter kid that they've got is a straight bona fide ball player. They run to the football on defense. Yeah, I can remember when this game used to be a rivalry game, George, and you can too. I mean, it was, they hated each other, and Nebraska's kind of dominated that in the last decade or so. But man, Colorado just it wasn't even the first half it kind of was a game, and then they got on track, and then it wasn't a game after that.
Steamrolled.
And
win number 3 will be Saturday night against arch rival Colorado State.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Big week for the state of Texas. The Dallas Cowboys looked like the 85 Bears last night. Micah Parsons, my Lord.
He's a freak.
Can anybody block him?
No.
Can anybody block their defensive line? I mean, you got the Lawrence guy, you got all those other guys. I don't think anybody can block him, George. Like, I feel sorry for Daniel Jones last night. There's been games like I remember when I played against the Baltimore Ravens when they were in their heyday, and that sucked. Having to play them because they could pressure you, but I mean, you talk about the 85 Bears, but you look at the Dallas Cowboys defense and you look at the San Francisco 49ers defense. Has there ever been two teams defensively like that in the same year? I mean, that's amazing that they can get pressure and they can wreak havoc. And they wreaked havoc on New York. It wasn't even a game when they kicked it off. It was unbelievable.
What this does do, man, it puts a lot of pressure on Mike McCarthy to deliver a Super Bowl, because in week one, everybody's ready to anoint him. But Kelly's right. Final stud, the 49ers go into Pittsburgh and basically leave Pittsburgh for roadkill. 31-7.
You don't ever do that, George, in Pittsburgh. That place is hard to play. They've always got great teams, but you got Brock Purdy back. You got Nick Bosa, who just signed his contract. Their defense is unbelievable. And you're going to see the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. More than likely, there's a long way to go, and injuries becomes a factor. But if they can stay healthy, you're going to see them clash in the NFC Championship game. It's they're really good.
Sure feels like it. Now let's get to the duds. And let's start in College Station, where all the little J.R. Ewing wannabes have got their checkbook out, ready to write that guy the check to get him the hell out of Dodge. Miami boat raced them in the second half. That's not a good sign for old Jimbo.
Gave up 43 points. I don't. I would have never guessed that. I mean, I'm sure y'all going to bring up, my predictions the other day, which I wish y'all wouldn't make me predict things, but I can't believe that Miami beat them that bad.
I was right there with you.
That is just, and you worry about all this transfer stuff, and you worry about what happened to him last year. I felt like he lost the locker room. And it kind of seems like that is kind of coming over into 2023. It's when you lose the locker room, George, it's hard to get it back when you lose respect from players. And man, it seems like that may be happening again.
When you lose to Northwestern, you'll get into studs and duds. UTEP. Oh, wow. UTEP.
Packed house there up at Northwestern.
There look like sections available. Kelly, your fan base looks like it's in that left corner.
It does look like it's in that left corner. Not many left, Hoss.
No,
that's kind of amazing. Now, UTEP is not the powerhouse in the world now, but to get beat by Northwestern 38-7, that's saying something. That means the Miners of UTEP aren't very good.
They're not the only team in purple that gets acknowledged this week. Oh,
not
really?
Good.
You can't beat the Brady-less Bucks?
Baker Mayfield, who's been
he played pretty well.
He played his butt off.
He really did.
But
I can't believe that, guys. I really can't. Minnesota, after what all they did last year, and I know they lost in the first round of the playoffs, but they got a really good team. But man,
bad loss.
It's week one. It's week one. We can't have a fire sale so far, but man, that's not a good loss.
No. And then, this will be the only time he's ever a dud.
Well,
Joe Burrow. I think he was weighed down by all that money.
He may have been. He was still smiling when he went out on the field, but afterwards the Brownies and the dog pound got after him, Hoss. So go Browns.
Did you watch much of that, Kelly?
I did not. I didn't see it.
I didn't get a chance to. I'd love to see just what the heck went on. I mean,
but he was held under. I think he only passed for like 85 yards,
right? 82. That's
82. Okay, yeah.
Low. And this just in: bad weather in Cleveland. Imagine that.
Hey, it happens, man. You're right next to the lake. The stadium is on the lake. You're going to get bad weather. Just deal with it.
Our staff meteorologist, Kelly Holcomb, giving you the latest in Cleveland. After the break, we got a lot of college football stuff to get into, including this fact. For the first time in a long time, Alabama's not better than you at quarterback. How do they handle such a dire situation? The state of Alabama, they're falling off the cliff. Stay tuned. We'll talk about it next. Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Scholar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Well, let me say up front that I was shocked Saturday night at the way Texas dominated Alabama and Tuscaloosa. Go back. This is an amazing stat if you really think about it. What do we got in the NFL? 32 teams.
Yep.
So we got 32 starting quarterbacks, and Nick Saban's last 4 are all starters in the NFL. Bryce Young in Carolina, Mac Jones in New England, Tua with the Dolphins, Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. And by the way, these aren't exactly chump change quarterbacks, but Kelly, for the first time in God only knows how long, Mr. Scowl isn't better than your team at quarterback.
Yeah, I don't understand that either, George. I look at the Floridas of the world, and I know they got the kid from Wisconsin, and you look at some of these bigger schools, and you just watch the quarterback play, and it's just I don't understand how they come to their conclusions. I know everybody wants dual threat quarterbacks. I talked to my old college coach this morning. We were talking about the same thing. He always told me you could be too athletic to be a quarterback. And I firmly am still ingrained in that. I mean, I know that we got the Lamar Jacksons. I know everybody wants to have these dual threat quarterbacks, but I've always said at some point you got to learn how to play the game from the pocket. And he's had pocket guys, those four that you just talked about. But now he's got a guy that's can throw it through a wall, but it doesn't look like he's playing with I know against middle he played really good and everybody was talking about, but he doesn't look like he plays with a lot of confidence about himself, like he understands what's going on. And the other night he got into a situation where Texas is really good, and they were really good last year up front, but they started getting a little pressure on him, and he started to feel that. And I just talked about that earlier in the show. You've got to be ignorant to that fact when you play quarterback. You can't worry about all the other stuff surrounding you, all those 300-pound linemen. You have got to keep your eyes downfield, and it just looks like he is he looks like he's a fish out of water right now. Now the guy, when he completes balls, he can throw it through a wall. There's no question about that, George. But it seems like he's one of these guys that when he's going through his progression, if his first guy's not open, he's looking to run. And it just didn't look good the other night. I know they got the kid from Martin, but he's apparently third on the depth chart now. The Buckner kid is taking over, so
and Buckner,
I don't know.
Buckner is a 2, is much ado about nothing. Now you talk about a major drop off from Bryce Young, Matt Jones, Tua, Jalen Hurts to Buckner.
Right. No, I agree. And supposedly they got a kid. I don't even know his name, but I think they've got a kid coming in from California that's a big recruit for next year. So I don't know how he's going to be. They went out to California and got Bryce Young, but it just doesn't look good. I mean, I feel as though, and all these Alabama fans, I know they're ready to hang themselves, and everything is awful down in Alabama today. They're still going to be able to win some games, but they're not going to win them like they have been winning them. I think they're going to struggle to win games, George. I really do. And I thought they would be better defensively. Did you not? I thought they would probably be better defensively, but it looks like the same stuff. And that's really what Nick Saban has been known for. He's been known for his defenses. That's how he won all those national championships. Now, I know he's had some good quarterbacks, and he's had some good players offensively the last decade. But he made his name on defense, and man, Quinn Ewers played really well the other night, and Steve Sarkisian, he game planned those guys up. He knew, and I said it earlier, he knew that if he could block those guys, he could get some shots downfield because he knows how they play that in and out stuff. And when a guy turns in and somebody takes him, you run it in, you run a post over the top of him, you got man to man. If the guy's playing outside, he's got leverage on it. So he knew all the little details of the defense that Nick Saban was running the other night. He fully exposed that.
So the Brave talk, and I get it because they are a champion. They have been a championship program for a long time. So the natural reaction is it's an early loss. We'll run the table. Kelly, I'm not buying it this time.
I don't buy it at all.
Going to run the table.
No, they're not. They're not going to run the table. They still, I mean, they still going to have to play UT, and UT didn't play great the other day. We'll get into that with Tony Basilio, but they're still going to have to play UT, who beat them. They still got to play LSU. It's not the same old Bama that it has been, I don't think. Now, they might turn up and show everybody that, hey, we are the same old Bama, but like the mystique is gone for me. I just don't think that they're very good right now. And we'll have to see. I mean, time always tells, and he's always been able to pick back up, but I think it just feels different to me this time. It feels not like a Nick Saban Alabama football team where they've had the last decade.
Well, because a quarterback, let's face it, Bryce Young 2 years ago won them the Auburn game when he got beat all to hell at Auburn and kept coming back for more. He won them games a year ago by his incredible talent. Kelly, bless Jalen Milroe's heart because he's a great athlete, but he can't do that.
He's an unbelievable athlete. He looks more like a linebacker, and he can run like that. He doesn't fit the mold of being a quarterback. He may prove me wrong. I hope he does. I mean, I'm for him. I'm for everybody that plays a position because I know how hard it is. But I just don't know if he's the answer right now, and I don't know if you can wait on him to be the answer. I don't know if he'll ever be the answer. But it just doesn't look like he's playing with a lot of confidence. He understands his limitations, and I think he can throw it through a wall, but you have to have some touch on the ball. You have to know where you're going with it, and it just seems like he's reactive instead of seeing what's going on, reading the defense, and getting the ball out of his hand. He's not that type of guy. I thought they would run the ball more, and I thought they would be better running the ball. I thought their offensive line was kind of some dudes. And it just seems like the last couple of years, it's just like Texas, I thought, manhandled them up front on both sides of the ball.
They did. So let's move on to Tennessee for a minute. I pay no attention to the fact that it was kind of lackluster against Austin Peay, other than to give the Govs credit for being able to not get boat raced into the 60s or the 70s and instead kept it really respectable. Now it's on to Florida, and Kelly, my gut feeling is Tennessee is just flat out better than Florida. What do you think?
I'm 100% with you on that. I think they're, you asked me to, we're going to do the top 14 in the SEC, but I think UT is behind Georgia. I really do. I don't think Florida's very good now. I think Billy Napier's a really good coach. I do, and I think he'll have those guys ready to play because this has been the East rivalry, one of the bigger Eastern Conference rivalries in the SEC. So he'll have those guys ready to play. But I think Tennessee is by far better now. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. They hadn't won there in 20 years. It's a hard place to play, and those fans are going to come out. They're going to be loud. They're going to scream. But I don't think they're as good as UT right now. I really don't. And defensively, I think UT's a lot better than they have been in years past. We talked about it last week about how that first game, just watching them against Virginia. Now, I know Virginia's not very good, but their team speed on defense is kind of resembling the team speed they have on offense.
Would you buy this? This for Billy Napier is a get the fans off your butt game. If he can beat Tennessee, that would start to quiet some of what's going on. And to me, the absolute opposite works if they show up and don't get much done against Tennessee.
Yeah, and I really hate that because we've talked about, I think Billy Napier's a really good coach. I think he understands the game. You talked about fit the other day, and I'm kind of like the guy that we had on the Mike guy that we had on the podcast.
Mike Bratton.
Yeah, Mike Bratton. I don't know if it's a fit thing. He's got to win. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. He's got to win, and hopefully he hadn't lost the locker room. I don't think he has, but he's a really good coach. But I think if he comes in and has a good, I don't think you can have a good showing. You have to beat UT at the Swamp. And if they can do that, then yeah, he's got another year. But if they don't, I mean, the criticism is going to come down hard. It's going to come down fast, and there's going to be a lot of pressure put on him. And he's going to have to start winning some games, or he will be gone.
Billy, jump into this one a little bit because you were there. I went into this season believing that the least of Clark Lee's worries about Vandy would be A.J. Swan. I'm a fan of his, but I got to be honest, he's not playing good enough.
No, he's not. And, Clark talked about it last week heading into this game. He said he's got to be more consistent, right? His highs have been really high. He threw for over 300 yards against Wake Forest, but his lows have been very low. And I told Kelly before the show, not all interceptions are created equal, but the 2 he threw against Wake Forest were awful. I mean, they're not going to get it done. I think the second throw of the game was intercepted. So he's got to learn from that. I think he's good enough and smart enough to learn from that. But he's been, if he doesn't turn the ball over, Vandy's in that game against Wake. They just are. Now, maybe they don't win it, but it's a closer game than the 16 points that it was. But George, they've got more issues too. Their offensive line has struggled. Defensively, they can't cover really any receiver that they've played against. So, but the bottom line is, if AJ doesn't play better, that they don't even have a chance, right? That's the first one, and that's probably the easiest thing that they can improve, right? Because they got UNLV before they host Kentucky in a couple of weeks.
Kelly, number one, I'm going to want to get you to talk about AJ Swan a little. But the second thing is, when I'm looking for an improved athleticism from Vandy, the one place I see it is they've got more wide receivers who can actually get something done than they've had. Other than that, I'm not seeing it yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I saw a little bit of team speed in the Hawaii game. Of course, they're playing Hawaii. I get that. But I felt like that's where they're lacking. They're lacking team speed in the secondary and things like that. And then, when Billy talks about them can't covering anybody, I mean, that you have to be able to do that. That's what the SEC is about. Although I will say this, everybody wants to talk about the SEC. The SEC is not very good right now. I mean, they've been, LSU got kicked by Florida State. Then Texas A&M gets drilled by Miami. That's 2 ACC teams. Wake Forest. It's amazing that Vanderbilt's been here for so long. Wake Forest was there, but now Wake Forest has gotten. I mean, that coach has gotten them to a different level now. They're pretty good. They're not a bad football team. So, I don't know. I'm for Clark Lee. I think he's a good dude. I think he's the right person for this job. I think they've got to give him a little bit more help in the administration. I really do, if he's going to turn this thing around. But will they? I don't know, George. You guys know better than me.
Oh, I mean, look, for the first time, they are doing something.
Yeah.
Is something enough? Only time will tell.
Yeah, and they for this season, they've got to they don't really have an identity right now. I mean, they turn the ball over too much, and they can't stop anybody, right? But if they clean up the mistakes, they can hang with some teams because of their skill. They've got some skill on offense, and so they'll be in the games. But if they turn the ball over, they won't. So the margin for error is still very small. I worry that is it too late, right? You lost a Wake. You got now you gotta pick off more teams in the SEC just to get to a bowl game. So it makes it harder. I just worry that later in the season, do they go back to this Wake game and say, man, I wish we would have been ready for that?
Well, first of all, it sets up have to win at UNLV, 6:00 Saturday night on CBS Sports Network. UNLV, like I said, they're not the Four Horsemen.
No,
they're very beatable, and it's a game. If Vandy's going to get to 6, it has to be a win. Then the next 2 SEC games. Kentucky, which has been announced as an 11:00 in the morning home game. Missouri the week after a home game. If this is going to get to 6, you have to win at least 2 out of the next 3.
Yes. And Kelly said it. The SEC is down. This is a tweener year. I mean, look at Missouri last week. Middle lost by 4. They almost won that game. And then Kentucky struggled with Eastern Kentucky. They had to go on a drive late in the game to ice it. So those are 2 winnable games, George, and I think this team can get better throughout the season as it goes on. Swan has to take care of the football.
Here was one of the most impressive things that the league got. Ole Miss's second half at a really good, underrated Tulane. Kelly, I thought they were going to get beat at halftime, and they came out smoking.
And the kid that played quarterback, the Jackson Dart kid, he played well. He made some plays in the second half. The guy's big. Golly, he can
really
run.
Think of him. I see certain days where I'm like, he's really good. And then I see certain days where I'm like, he's a dud.
I don't know. I'm not a fan yet. I've got to see more of him. He just, I don't know. I'm like you. There's too much inconsistency, and that's what Billy just talked about. As a quarterback, you want to be consistent. The coach wants to know that he can go out there and he can rely on you of not turning the ball over, making the right decisions. When the play breaks down, make a good decision. I don't know if he's there yet, but he came out the second half the other day and played well. And it also helps that he's got a good running attack. I mean, he's got 3 running backs in that room, and they can run the football. So they're going to be something to contend with later on. I really believe that.
Okay, you want a note on a game nobody watched?
Tell me.
Yeah. Rice beat Houston in double OT.
JT Daniels.
Rice.
That's right. JT Daniels.
It's okay for JT to transfer 4 different times to 4 different schools, which of course led me to announce a year ago that they would have a transfer portal float at the Rose Bowl, and he would be that float's grand marshal. He would wave to everybody. But poor old Tez Walker.
Yeah, can't get on at UNC.
What the hell?
I don't understand that either. Like I thought the transfer portal was for a one-time deal, but like this dude's transferred to 4 different schools and he's still playing. I don't understand it.
By the way, I'm the only person that stayed up late enough to see Auburn's winning touchdown at Cal.
Yeah.
You stayed
I did
up
not.
for that?
I did. Peter
Really?
Sherman's defense played really well.
Oh man.
I thought Cal would beat them. I really did. I thought, and that must have been a juggernaut. You're absolutely right. That must have been a juggernaut out there. But I was watching that game and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to stay up for this, Hoss.
So
Good
former
luck.
Titan Peter Sherman is the D coordinator at Cal, and his son Jackson, who has turned into a stud, got screwed out of a touchdown on a fumble recovery very early in the game. So that's the second of the big notes. And then here's the third. Did anybody watch Northwestern's win over UTEP?
That would be a negative.
Was it even available?
Big Ten Network.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I didn't watch that. I wasn't going to watch
Either
that.
Toledo versus Canada or that game.
It was like when I was in Cleveland, the Big Ten game of the week. Northwestern versus Purdue. Nobody cares.
Wow. People
It was
Purdue
bad.
care.
Yeah, that's.
I know they do, but I'm
Gotta be
sorry. I
careful
do
before
not.
you say that.
I do not. I'm sorry. Hey,
Yeah.
hate on me. I don't care. I mean, Purdue and Northwestern, like nobody wants to watch that. Sorry.
Okay, guess what we have after the break, Kelly?
You get to gloat again, I'm sure.
Yes, a commitment to excellence. The plaster bet of the day tonight goes to the Meadowlands. And by the way, just moments ago, the Cowboys scored again.
Or had another sack.
Holy cow. Can you say roadkill? I'll say New York Giants. Stay with us.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Final segment on a Monday. Monday Night Football starts tonight. Buffalo and New York, 7:15. We'll see where Plaster's going there. But first, Bart Durham Injury Law, best in the business. Give him a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. All right, let's do a little review before we get to tonight's pick. Notre Dame and Baylor both covered. Baylor did not win, but they did cover. The Alabama and Auburn teaser failed miserably. Auburn almost covered, but they did not.
No, that Auburn was not the problem. Alabama was the problem.
Alabama was the problem. Yes. Middle, how about the Blue Raiders?
How about the Blue Raiders?
They scratched and clawed, and they got a good quarterback. They didn't score a ton, but I thought the defense played well too. The Jags ended up covering, but the Vikings did.
No, the Vikings.
That was bad.
Kelly, take a good look at that record. That is a commitment to excellence.
It is a commitment to excellence, George. You're doing well. You're doing well. I can't berate you on that.
No, but I know that soon there will be payback.
Winter is coming.
Yeah, there's going to be a time when you start losing.
Payback will be an itch. So I believe that tonight's Monday Night Football game will be the biggest.
Jets.
Hold on a second. Let me.
Kelly,
can you believe he did that?
Never mind. Nobody saw it.
Nobody saw it.
I think everybody's
well, they
blind.
heard me.
So I believe tonight might be the largest ESPN Monday Night Football audience since they've taken over Monday Night Football. There are storylines galore, beginning with Aaron Rodgers. By the way, I wonder if anybody dares to utter these words. Jordan Love played his butt off yesterday.
Sure did. He's
How
good.
about that? Yeah.
I think he's pretty good.
And
Good for him.
He's been good. He was a heck of a quarterback.
How would we know when you say he's been good?
Well, I say he's been good.
He's been good in the third preseason game.
But this is what they thought and expected. When I know he was good, but he was a heck of a quarterback at UCLA.
Hey, did y'all realize that
he wasn't at UCLA. He was at Nevada.
Jordan Love?
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
You might need to look that up.
He wasn't at UCLA. I know that. Did y'all see where?
Oh, Jordan Love was at Utah State. My bad.
Yes, that's it. Utah State.
Nevada, Utah State. It's out west where all the UFOs land.
Did y'all see where they've only had 3 quarterbacks in 3 decades?
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Mikowski, Favre, Mr. Favre, who is so old that I did a game of his in college when I was at Memphis State, and the game ended in a tie. But let's go to tonight. Why am I going JETS? It just seems to me that this one, it's in the stars. I mean, I cannot believe that Buffalo's going to go in there and trash them. With all the drama and all the stuff around this game, Aaron Rodgers has got to show up big. And I think he will. And you know what? I think the Jets are pretty good.
I think you're right, but I'm going to leave you with 2 words. Go Bills.
Wow.
Sorry, man.
Thanks
I mean, I played for them. I mean, they gave me a paycheck a long time ago, George. I mean, I'm for the Bills.
That has
Still got people up there I know.
Has nothing to do with your comments.
It has a little bit to do with it, but more of it, it's just I'm going against you, which I love to do.
Thank you. Okay, tomorrow on the show, these things will happen. We will have Tony Basilio joining us from Knoxville to preview Tennessee, Florida. And then we'll get a little bit of the Florida side of it all. My buddy Paul Kennedy will join us. He also is one of the Tampa Bay Lightning announcers, but has covered a ton of college football. We'll figure out what the temperature is on Billy Napier. How important is this to his long-term future in Florida? It's a big game. It's a 6 o'clock on ESPN. It's Fowler and Herb Street. Doesn't get much better.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, I think you're right. I think if he wins, though, he's going to cement himself another year at Florida. But if he doesn't, man, the critics are going to come out again. I've got a disgruntled employee thing that I need to go over right now.
Okay, is this a human resources deal?
It is, yeah. Okay. Who do I need to talk to? Are you the human resource guy?
Yeah, go ahead.
For one, I'm still not in the opener.
Right.
And I guess y'all are just trying to appease me with the commercial that you've put on the show here. You know, when we all came down there, and I went to Antioch instead of Bellevue. I guess we're all on that, okay?
Yeah.
But I still don't have my Buffalo Bills football back either. So y'all have become thieves as well.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
I have it in my
George, your thief over there that you're sitting next to, he still got it.
Well, you live in the borough, so it's not an easy trip.
I mean, I came to Bellevue that day. I mean, you keep saying that you're going to come up here and fix my computer, but are you going to do that or what? Are you going to be professional for once in your life?
We might kill 2 birds with one stone. I'll come up there, return the football.
For the record, you showed up an hour late.
True statement. I mean, I can't argue that. True statement. I mean,
right. I mean,
what do you want me to do about that? I mean, that's
not
true.
Like you're new to town. You acted like you had no idea where Bellevue was.
I didn't. Never, ever once been to Bellevue. I have never, ever been to Bellevue. Sorry.
You know,
I live in Murfreesboro, George, not Nashville, not the greater Nashville area.
I know how to get around in Murfreesboro. Billy, you been to Murfreesboro?
I have.
Good. Okay. We're done.
See ya.
See you tomorrow. All of you behave until then. JETS. Jets.
Go Bills. Go Bills.